Hey guys, Spud here, as always, and today we're going to tackle a relatively tricky topic that I realized we have just simply been doing in my multiplayer missions with no real explanation or tutorial, which has been a bit of a detractor from folks who want to try and join my missions. So today we are going to cover how to receive an IFR clearance from a controller, both on the ground in a pre-filed situation, as well as an IFR pickup once you're in the air and maybe you realize that you're going to need an instrument procedure to make it back to home plate. To help illustrate our tutorial, we are flying with a number of my awesome community members as we head out to intercept, identify, and then escort a Russian Air Force Tu-95 Bear bomber off the coast of Norway in degrading weather conditions here on the Kola map. When it comes to flying an IFR flight plan, both in DCS and in real life, I highly recommend you have a kneeboard and notebook so you can write down the clearance you receive. If you're interested, you can find one at any aviation supply store or flight school in your local area, or of course, go ahead and take a look at Amazon. Before you contact your controlling agency, I recommend writing down the acronym CRAFT vertically on your kneeboard. Keep in mind, this controller could be a dedicated clearance delivery controller or a ground controller or tower controller depending on the staffing levels of your airfield. And if you're at an uncontrolled airfield, but there is a departure, approach, or center controller on your mission file or in your server, you can always contact them for your IFR clearance as well. CRAFT is a useful format for being able to clearly, quickly, and concisely write down the clearance you receive from your controller. We have vertically on our kneeboard, Charlie, for clearance limit. This is where you're going to be cleared to, whether that's flying cross-country to another airfield or just to a specific navigational aid where you're planning to cancel your IFR clearance. Romeo, for your route to the clearance limit. Alpha, for the initial altitude you're cleared to climb to. Frequency, for the departure frequency you're going to be switched to once you're done with the tower controller. And T, or Tango, for the transponder code assigned to your aircraft or your flight of aircraft. Once we have our kneeboard set up, it's time to call our clearance delivery controller to ask for IFR clearance. Venice Clearance Delivery, this is Viper 1, flight of 4 F-16s, looking for IFR round robin back to Venice via Endoya Takan.
Viper 1, Venice clearance, clear to the Endoya Takan, right turn 240, render vectors to the fjord 7, maintain 5,000, departure frequency 266.15, squawk 4531 sequential.
I know it's a lot at first, coming at you very fast, but you'll come up with a shorthand that works for you and allows you to notate your IFR clearance quickly and accurately. Once we have that written down, it's time for our readback to read back that clearance to the controller so that way he or she can correct any mistakes. Roger, Viper 1 flight is cleared to the Endoya Takan via right turn 240 degrees, radar vectors to the fjord 7, climbing to 5,000, 266.15, and squawking 4531 sequential. Then, once you have the controller let you know that your readback is correct, they will prompt you to contact the ground controller for your taxi clearance, the exact same as any other VFR flight you've flown in your flying career, whether that's in DCS or in real life.
Viper 1, readback correct, contact ground 249.75.
Roger that, ground for taxi, thanks, Endoya clearance. Venice ground, Viper 1 flight of now 3 F-16s is ready to taxi. we have the weather. Join us in a few minutes as a single ship.
Units ground copies.
And of course, takeoff is no different. We simply get our takeoff clearance from the tower controller, and we go ahead and take the runway at our leisure for our takeoff, whether as a single ship or as an entire flight. Venice Tower, Viper 1, flight of 3 F-16s, holding short runway 17 for departure.
Viper 1 flight, Venice Tower, winds are 184 at 6 knots, clear for takeoff runway 17, contact Andoya control, button 5, should be frequency 266.15, non-1
Roger that. Viper 1 flight clear for takeoff, heading 240 and over to departure. And push button 5 on uniform. Once roll. But once we're up in the air, we need to start to comply with the limits of our clearance. In our case today, a right turn to 240 degrees, one's out of burner, in the right hand turn to 240. Viper flight checked, climbing initially to 5,000 feet, and then receiving radar vectors from our controller onto the Fjord 7 departure. Andoya control, Viper 1 flight of 4 F-16s, heading 240, climbing to 5,000.
Viper 1, Andoya control, radar contact, 1 on correction 2 miles southeast of the Venice VOR. Continue your climb up to 8,000, and you are clear direct Fjord 7 your radar vectors.
Roger that. Cleared direct to Fjord, climbing to 8,000 for Viper 1. Coming right to Sortland.
Viper 1 should be crossing Fjord. Right turn to Sortland approved. Cross Sortland at or above 10,000.
Cross Sortland at or above 10,000 for Viper 1. Climbing 10,000 for Sortland.
Orient 1, Andoya control. 2 miles from Fjord. Turn right direct Sortland. Climb and maintain 10,000, 10,000. Copy that. Climb 10,000.
And Viper 1 flight, let's push it up to Mach 70.
4.
Alright guys, we're getting close to our clearance limit, the Andoya TACAN station, and we're up in VMC or Visual Meteorological Conditions between cloud layers, and we need to proceed with the tactical phase of our mission. For this, we're going to cancel our IFR clearance with Andoya control and continue by declaring MARSA, or Military Authority Assumes Responsibility for Separation of Aircraft. This absolves the civil controller from needing to maintain separation of aircraft in our flight, so we can maneuver as needed to intercept the Russian Tu-95 off the coast. And that way we can contact our military controlling agency, Red Crown, to initiate and guide us through that intercept phase. Andoya control, Viper 1 flight. We're coming up on the Andoya VOR in VMC, like to cancel IFR and continue via MARSA.
Roger, Viper 1, IFR cancellation copy, and MARSA is copied as well. You'll be approved to switch frequencies at this time. Overlord, it's going to be button 6, frequency 305.0. How doing?
Roger that, Andoya Control, Viper 1 flight, switching tactical, and would you like to keep the code or squawk VFR?
You can keep the codes for now, you may have a different report.
Copy that, Viper 1's keeping the code. Viper flight, push button 6.
Copy. Slide to your right side, 1. Everyone, Overlord, Russian aircraft is going to remain outside of sovereign airspace. You can turn into Intercept. Resume on navigation. Contact Inflight Control on button 5.
Roger that, Overlord. Glad to be of service, and just a reminder, it is a 295 Mike Sierra, unarmed, and resuming own nav, and leaving his wing. Alright guys, we have successfully intercepted, identified, and escorted the Russian Air Force Tu-95 away from Norwegian airspace. So it's time to head home to Evenes airfield. Only we've got one small hitch. Because of the weather, we are in need of a new IFR clearance, so we can use an instrument procedure to safely, effectively, and efficiently land back at home plate. But this is really no problem. We simply contact our civil controlling agency, in this case Andoya Control, and request what's called an IFR Pickup. And, just like when we were on the ground, we need to set up our kneeboard ahead of time by once again writing craft vertically across our kneeboard. Then, we simply request an IFR clearance back to Evenes airfield. A-firm, Viper 1's looking for pickup clearance back to Evenes airfield.
Copy. Viper 1 and Flight are going to be cleared to Evenes airfield via direct Andoya taxi, the shipwreck to arrival. Altitude, flight level 180, frequency 266.15 for Andoya Control. Squawk 5-2, tree 1 in sequence.
And of course, once we have that written down, we need to give our readback. Roger, Viper 1 flight is cleared to Evenes airfield via direct to Andoya TACAN, the shipwreck arrival, then 180 for the altitude, 26615 for the freak, and 5231 squawk sequential. And once we're told our readback is correct and we have our squawk code set, we are back on an IFR flight plan. It's just that easy, there's no special sauce or magic involved. And we'll be able to safely and efficiently transit through the weather and shoot an ILS down to the runway at home plate. Right turn direct to Tirpitz, cross Tirpitz at 150. 15,000. Cross U-boat at or below 8,000 for Viper 1. So, guys, I hope this video was helpful and helps you understand this crucial part of flying under Instrument Flight Rules, or IFR. While it may seem daunting at first with a whole lot coming at you to write down on your kneeboard, after some practice it will become second nature, and you'll find it's just as easy as flying under VFR. And hopefully this demystifies a large part of my missions that have been confusing quite a lot of people out there. So please leave a like and subscribe, and we shall see you guys in the next one. Fly safe out there and enjoy this beautiful game.
Viper 1 Andoya Control, roger. Left turn, heading 180, direct Andoya, correction, Evenes. And you're going to be cleared for the ILS
Push that, cleared for the ILS into Venice, runway 17, 3000 till established for Viper 1. And flight slowing now to Mach 0.6. Indoya Control, Viper 1 flight, request frequency change.
Viper 1, approved, switch tower, 277.5.
Over to tower, Viper 1, thanks. Button 4, uniform. And Doya Tower, Viper 1, flight of 4 F-16s inbound on the ILS runway 17 for full stop.